morning, students. Before you sit down, please align your chairs and pick up the pieces of paper on the floor. Okay, if you're done, you may now take your seat. Before we start, please, Mr. President, check the attendance. Okay, everyone is present. That's good. How are you feeling? Are you kind of bored or occupied with the things you don't understand? Or unhappy seeing your test results? Well, please clear your mind and relax. Just be ready and attentive, for we will discuss the lesson again in a step-by-step manner and for you to really understand. And if you know already the topic, you would say that math is interesting. Class, are you ready to learn again? So set aside all your confusion and show me that you are ready. Okay, now moving on, let's have this kind of activity for me to know that you have learned something. Now, let's review in solving the roots of a quadratic equation, its discriminant, and describing the nature of its roots. This activity is by pair, but you need to have an individual paper. So all you need to do is to help each other in answering the following problems. Are we all clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you may start answering now the following problems. Are you all done?
Not yet, ma'am.
Okay, what number are you now?
Mas one.
Okay, 5 minutes to go and we will check your answer.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, please focus on your paper. Okay, good. Everyone is doing great for the first activity. Now, moving on, let's now proceed to our discussion purport. Every quadratic function has two unknown variables, and these values are called roots of the equation. Let ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So, the x is called the root of the equation. Thus, x is the root if the equation is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0, and every solution is the root. Now, a quadratic equation has two roots. It is either unequal real numbers or equal real numbers or numbers which are not real. Now, if our quadratic equation has two real equal roots, then we say that our equation has one real solution. Now, hereafter, the discriminant is easy to find when you look at the quadratic formula. Now, the quadratic formula is the equation we use to find the solutions to quadratic equations. So, it looks like this. X is equals to negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Now, our discriminant, which appear under the radical sign of the quadratic formula, which is the b squared minus 4ac, tells us what is the nature of the roots. Will it be real or unequal? Now, in addition, the discriminant tells you how many possible solutions a particular quadratic equation has. Now, before we can use the quadratic equation, though, we first have to change it to standard form. Now, the standard form is when all the variables and constants are on side of the equation and the other side is a 0. Now, it looks like this. Ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, which is the general form of the quadratic equation. Okay, once you have your quadratic equation in standard form, you can now label your numbers with the appropriate letters and plug the values into your formula for finding the discriminant. Now, the results of your discriminant tells you how many solutions your quadratic has. Now, have a look at this. When we have our discriminant greater than 0, it has a real and unequal nature of roots, And if your discriminant is equal to 0, it is real and equal nature of roots. And if our discriminant is less than 0, it is an equal and imaginary nature of roots. Now, let's put this into practice. We have example number 1. Discuss the nature of the roots of the quadratic equation 2x squared minus 8x plus 3 equal to 0. So we have now our equation is 2x squared minus 8x plus 3 equal to 0. Now, all coefficients are real. So we have, to get the discriminant value, we have our discriminant is equivalent to 40. Now clearly, the discriminant of the given quadratic equation is positive but not a perfect square. Therefore, the roots of the given quadratic equation are real, irrational, and unequal. Now let's move on to the example number 2. Now without solving, examine the nature of the roots of the equation 4x squared minus 4x plus 1 equal to 0. Now our equation is 4x squared minus 4x plus 1 equal to 0. Now to get the discriminant, let's substitute the value. Discriminant is equals to 0. Now, since our discriminant is equal to 0, therefore, the roots are real and equal. Now, hence, here we understood the nature of roots very clearly. After all the things we cover up this morning session, let me see if you really understood the discussion by answering the problem that I prepared. So, all you have to do is focus and remember the process on solving, and don't forget to recheck your solution. You can start answering now. Good luck everyone and enjoy your solving. Let's try to find out why you were or weren't able to get the correct solution, and how you were able to identify the roots and be able to determine its nature. So, what is the first thing to do in solving the given equation, and what is your basis in identifying the nature of the roots? Now let's discuss the item number 1, which is x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals to 0. So, to get the discriminant, we have a is equals to negative 5 minus 4 times 1 times 6. So, we have 12 minus 26. So we have the discriminant of 1, and since our discriminant is greater than 0 and it is a perfect square, and our A and B are rational, therefore the roots of the equation are unequal and rational. Now let's move on to our test item number 2. We have the 2x squared plus 5x minus 10 equal to 0. So to solve the discriminant, we have our discriminant is equal to 105, which is greater than 0, but not a perfect square. Therefore, the roots of the equation are unequal and irrational. Now, test item number 3, we have 9x squared minus 24x plus 16 equals to 0. So to solve the discriminant, we have now, since our discriminant is 0, we can now conclude that our nature of roots is real and equal. For me to guarantee that you already have understanding on the discussion we had, let me give this to you a short assessment to further see where your learnings are up to. So finish this task within 15 minutes. So before you answer, read the instructions, every number, and double check your solution. Now let's check your answer. We have number 1. Examine the nature of the roots of the following quadratic equation. We have x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals to 0. Now we have our discriminant equated to 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times 6 down. And we get the discriminant of positive 1. Now our discriminant is greater than 0 and it is a perfect square. So therefore, our nature of roots is real and equal and rational. Now, number 2, we have 2x squared minus 3x minus 1 equals to 0. Substitute it to the formula of the discriminant. We have negative 3 squared minus 4 times 2 times 1. We get the discriminant of 17, which is, so the nature of roots is real and equal and irrational. Now moving on to this item number 3, we have 3x squared plus 5x plus 8 equals to 0. And equate and substitute it to the formula of the discriminant. We get the value of 71. So our discriminant, so the nature of our discriminant is real and unequal. And lastly, our number 4, find the discriminant of a quadratic equation. 4x squared plus 11x plus 10 equals to 0, and discuss the nature of the root. So when we substitute the ABC in the formula of the discriminant, we get 11 squared minus 4 times 4 times 10, and we get a discriminant of 39. So this means that the nature of roots has no real roots. So that's it for the discussion. Now I guess that's it for today's discussion. I hope I uncover your misconception and misunderstanding on the subject, and that's all for today. Class dismissed. See you guys.
Goodbye, ma'am.